comes up, feel free to like wave frantically and I will come over and pop my earbuds in. Otherwise, let's have a Pilates party. So I'm gonna move my plant off of my mat. Steph and I were just talking about it being inauguration day. Not that I want to like trigger anything for anyone. So it's kind of like the spirit of renewal, I feel, for me anyway.
Yes.
Don't have to worry about props at all today. If you have bands or hand weights at home, feel free to kind of add them in and I'll let you know when, and also little pillows and blankets if you want to. I'm going to start kneeling mostly just so you can like see me in your frame. Feel free to sit cross-legged, to stand up, all of that kind of stuff, wherever you feel most comfortable. So when you're ready, we're going to take a nice big breath in and out. And I'm just going to check one more. There we go.
I don't know how to turn off my camera.
I was telling Steph as well, I have a separate Wi-Fi for when I do this. So I just always want to make sure it's like on and working for us. So nice big breaths in through the nose and exhaled, and we can roll those shoulders up and back. You could do this seated if you wanted to, on a chair, cross-legged, or again, standing, just kneeling so you can see me. One more time like this, inhaling in and exhale back. Let's go the other way. Inhale around, up, and exhale down. So we have this really beautiful system that works in our shoulder and in our neck and really throughout our whole body. And especially if we're like sitting and working, we want to make sure that we do allow the shoulders to shrug up to the ears at some point. Otherwise, they're going to be like, what about my job? I don't get to lift at all. And so we want to kind of give it a moment to do what its job is to do, the levator, scap, upper trapezius muscles, so that they don't get too angry. We're going to take those arms out beside us. I'm hoping you can see my hands pretty clearly. We're going to lower our thumbs down into our palms, and we're going to close our hands over the thumbs. So don't let your thumb, like if you have really bendy joints, don't pull it all the way down. You're just going to kind of let it rest. And then we're going to tilt our pointer finger down. And we're just going to do a little sort of lift it up and reach it down. Lifting it up and reaching down. So it's kind of like you're doing like a funky queen wave, except it's more lateral, up and down, or horizontal, I should say. Keeping those nice breaths going here. And then you're going to turn this into a bit of circulation through those wrists. So our theme today for those joining us later on is a bit of mobility through the wrists, through the forearms, through the shoulders, through the hips. And then adding some more strength building work to support that, that change. We're going to let the right arm draw down. You can drop the left hand if you want. So we're doing that little like queen wave sort of down with that pointer finger, and we're going to let our left ear draw down. And my hope for us is that you kind of feel some sensation down that arm, maybe in through the neck a little bit. If it's too intense, bring yourself out of it. I don't want us to like hang out here for too long, but take a nice big breath in here and out. And then bring your head back up to center. You're going to reach out through those fingers. So making the hand nice and wide. And it's like you could, like as if someone was sort of drawing you over to the left, but you're going to stay upright. So it's like you could slide that hand longer. And then you're going to keep sliding it as long as you can as we reach that arm up. This is a fascial stretch. And as you lift again, we're not trying to like be short in our range. We want to try and lift as much as we can. And then you're going to open that arm back out beside you. And as it lowers, can you keep radiating? So I have pretty short arms, so it's a nice demo that I'm not touching the floor, but I'm trying to touch the floor. And then again, I'm going to reach out without adjusting anything through your sternum, through your chest. Can you reach that arm as much as possible? And then bring it up. And again, I'm hoping, especially as you pass through center, that you get the opportunity to feel a little bit more opening through the chest. You can even kind of use your hand like I am if you want to sort of draw across. I kind of forgot about this one. I used to teach it all the time. One more time, inhale, big reach up, until today when the request came in and I was like, oh yeah, this feels good. And then bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. Give that shoulder a little bit of a shake. Give that wrist a little shake. Going to the opposite side. So folding that thumb back into that hand, doing that little teeter-totter down with the pointer finger, softening the shoulder. Don't press it down, just soften the shoulder and then let your right ear sort of soften again. We're not going to hang out in here too much, but I do just want you to have that experience of the opening as your ear goes the opposite way. Take a nice big breath into this full space here and exhale it out. Bringing ourselves back upright. Let's open that palm up. And again, it's sort of like you're sliding, like if you were putting on, I'm not sure how much of us have been watching Bridgerton, but like if you were to put really long gloves on that time period, and then keep reaching that arm out as you sweep it out and up, out and up, out and up. And even as you go to the ceiling, it's not like we're just trying to be shallow. Yeah, we're trying to lift as much as we can, but soften the rest of our body. And then open it back out beside you. See if you can have that moment where the arm is lengthening, and then keep that experience as you bring your arm down. So it's not resting down, it's like super radiating. And then again, as you open again, you can use your hand if you want to kind of draw the tissue across your chest to give it a little bit more length, and then reach it all the way up. Keep breathing, keep breathing, keep breathing, keep breathing, and then bring it down. Even if you're not having too much of an experience here, which is totally fine and valid, still nice to get that range going through your shoulder blade. When you're ready, and through your rotator cuff. Bring it up, bring it up, bring it up. And then slowly bring it down. Give your wrist a little shake. Last little bit of business here. We're going to press our palms out like you're doing Stop Right Now from Spice Girls. And we're going to flip our wrists down, and then we're going to flip them up, and we're going to flip them down and up. So you're going to look to the floor with your fingertips, and then to the ceiling, and then look down to the floor, and then up to the ceiling. So this might get a little burny through your forearms because we're just working and toning that muscle a little bit. And down. We have some hand weights and like light dumbbells and stuff in my house. So I picked them up again recently. And it was a really good reminder of grip strength and like working these muscles, not just in like typing, but in actually having to like do things, which I had kind of forgotten about. We're going to go for 3. We're going to go for 2. Last one, you're going to pause with those fingertips pointing down, and then curl your fingertips in. And the tighter you can make that fist, the more you feel like you're reaching forward through your 2 wrist bones, the more you're going to get a stretch through the forearm. If you want to take this onto hands and knees, be very, very careful. You're going to keep those knees maybe even a little further underneath you than knees under hips. And you can do the same thing there too. To be honest, I feel like you get a bit more of an experience up here. Nice big breath in here and exhale it out. Give it a little shake. Again, you can be kneeling, you could be standing. We're going to do a little bit for those shoulders. You're going to open those arms out beside you. You're going to give yourself a thumbs up. Your right hand, this is my right hand, is going to thumbs up down. So it's going to thumbs down. And we're going to do that little circle that we were just practicing, but they're going to go opposite ways. So right hand down and left arm up. Now without actually touching, and I'm going to turn around, you're going to bend your thumbs towards each other. Bend at your elbows, and it's like your thumbs could squeeze and touch, but they might not actually do that. Press, 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 press. So now it's like you're pressing down to the floor and up to the ceiling. Bring your arms back to center. Left thumb rotates down, right arm rotates up, and we're going to stretch, 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 so that left hand is trying to punch the floor, right hand trying to punch the ceiling. Again, we're going to bend at those elbows as if those thumbs, and feel like you're moving through resistance here, yeah? Squeeze, 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 and then punch the arms in their corresponding directions. Bring the arms back to center. Both thumbs are up. Right thumb rotates down. We're going to go, 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 go. Now I'm going to go a little less in my range because my right arm is the one that doesn't really like internal rotation. Squeeze and then bring it back. So again, it might not feel like a ton, but what we're actually working here, especially if you're moving slowly and like you're moving through water, is lots of eccentric control. So elongated control of those muscles as they're working through internal external rotation, as they're working in range. Yeah, so left thumb faces down, right thumb up, punching in opposite directions. I feel very much like Superman flying, or Superwoman, I should say, flying through the air here. Yeah, you can do this standing, you could do it seated. Punch it up. We're going to do one more to each side. Right thumb down. We reach, reach, reach. It's always also a really good indicator if as soon as you bend your elbows, you're like, oh, my whole body caves in, or I don't actually have a lot of space to go here. What's happening through your pecs and your chest? So we're also opening up through there. Left thumb down. Last one. Jot in, jot in, jot in. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze those arms. Reach open, shake, shake, shake it off. Whew. Good. Last little bit of business for mobility for right now is we're going to do that hip stretch that I love so much. So right foot is going to come forward. Blocks are great. A chair, as long as it's not going to slide away from you, could be a great prop here. We're going to untuck, if you can see my foot, your toes. So don't have it propped up, have it down. We're going to squeeze that left bum cheek, and then we're going to bring ourselves forward. So your right foot might need to wiggle a little bit. However, I don't want us, if you were to sink into a possible range, I don't want us to like totally hang out, okay? So we're gonna squeeze those legs together. We're gonna fire both of your bum cheeks, and we're gonna try to lengthen out as best as we can. That right foot is gonna wiggle itself so it's a little bit wider. If you're on a mat, it's gonna go to the mat's edge. We're gonna turn those right toes out to 2 o'clock. And we're going to keep squeezing everything into center. So press into your foot, hug your heel back, hug that femur, that thigh bone into your hips, keep your glutes squeezing. And then nice and calmly start to peel that foot off. Now, if you can't kneel, don't worry, I'm going to give you another version of this. We're going to start to open up through that thigh. Again, we're not sitting in this. We're hugging it in, hugging it in, hugging it in, reaching out nice and long. You're super active. Think about firing both legs at like 150%. And then if this feels reasonable, maybe add a rotation here, okay? This is where you're gonna stay and breathe, keep your muscles on. If you're like, no way, Dom, coming onto kneeling isn't working for me, no worries at all. We're gonna flip onto your back and we're gonna come into a figure 4. But doing this, you're not gonna use your hands. You're gonna try to hug that intersection of ankle and thigh and lift the legs up and squeeze them towards each other, trying to open the thigh without your hands. So whichever version you're on, stay here for 3, stay here for 2, stay here for 1, and then wherever you are, just take a quick little break. It could look like a hamstring stretch. It could look like a little windshield wiper of your knees. All of those are great options. And then we're gonna come back to it. So letting yourself come forward, walking that foot a little bit wider, rotating out to 2 o'clock, hug those legs in, and then peel open, yeah? Roll to that pinky toe edge. Hug the legs in as best as you can, press that floor away, and then maybe add that rotation. If you're doing the figure 4 on your back, feel free, same side, yeah? Now the goal here, regardless of where you are with your body, is to try to create maximum tension and find a little bit more range every time. We're here for 4, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 3, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 2, last 1, again, bring it in. Give yourself a little relief. I'm gonna do this last one on my back to join anybody who's in your figure 4. Taking your breath in as you breathe out, setting yourself up, and then firing the muscles to either open that thigh out or hug it in. We're here for 5. We're here for 4. We're here for 3. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. 2. Last 1. Beautiful work here, team. You can dissolve your shape, little windshield wiper if you'd like to. And then we will come up on that second side. This is my favorite. I love this one so, so, so much. Okay, if you're kneeling, opposite foot forward. So we're into that left leg now. And again, I'm not sort of hanging out in a hip stretch here. I'm a little more lifted. Hug those legs together right away, and then heel toe your left foot a little bit wider. So again, if you're on a mat, that mat distance, and then you're gonna turn it out towards 10 o'clock, make sure that knee follows. Before you go anywhere, the left foot into the floor, squeeze the thigh back, fire both of your glutes, long from head to tail as best you can. And then if this feels reasonable, peel, actively open. Yeah, again, we're not sitting in this shape. We're like zipped up and out of it using your musculature. Maybe if it feels reasonable, we rotate through that upper body to open it out here. Hold it, keep breathing, keep muscling. If you'd like to, on your back instead, you're coming into that figure 4. We're activating the muscles to pull that leg up and in. I just started running again, so this feels like extra fabulous. You're here for 3. You're here for 2. For one, wherever you are, dissolve the shape a little bit. Again, it could look like a little hamstring stretch. If you're on your back, it could be your knees sort of going for a bit of a windshield wiper. And then when you're ready, coming back in, squeezing back the glutes, opening out through that left thigh. Peel yourself up onto your pinky toe edge. Check in with how much your muscles are working and what your range is. Maybe you have a little more room this time. Pressing the right hand into the floor. If you're going for that rotation, you definitely don't have to. If you would like to keep both hands on the floor. If you're on your back, you're nice and actively bringing those legs in for 3. And of course, it's your practice, right? So if you're like, I'd really rather do this other thing, please do it. For 2, for 1, lower down, give yourself a little reprieve, a little breath. And then last one all together, and I'm gonna do this last one on my back to join anybody who's down there. So when you're ready, setting yourself up, fire those muscles, and then pull the legs in. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. For 5, arms can come up as well. 4, 3, for 2, last 1. Bring it down, give your legs a little shake. However you'd like to bring yourself up, please do. We're gonna come up to standing. So I'm very into like mobility, strength building, and like movement myth debunking. So we're gonna start left leg forward, right leg back. And your right leg is just sort of here to like be a bit of a support. You're gonna slowly start to bend forward, and I want you to bend as far forward as you can until your knees maybe don't feel fabulous, yeah? Which means your knee's gonna come over your toes. I want us to square off through those hips. I want us to press through that whole foot, squeeze your left bum cheek, and bring ourselves up. Again, we're gonna fire through the glutes. We're gonna bend, 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 bend. Knee's gonna come over middle of toe. We're gonna square off through those hips as best as we can. Notice my back leg is getting really light. Press off that front foot, nice and tall. We hug in, we bend, we tip. We're trying to fire all that musculature again. Bend, 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 bend. Press off of that floor. We're gonna go, pardon me, for 3 here. So in real life, our knees don't just stay in a 90-degree angle, right? Let's go for 2, especially again, if we're sitting, we wanna make sure we're strengthening muscles that maybe are sitting in places passively. One more time, you might be feeling that left bum cheek. Bring it up. We're gonna stay in the same shape, maybe shorten your stance a little bit. Hands can come to hip bones. Hug the legs in and lower your back heel a little bit. Yeah, so we've gone from really high to a bit lower. Hugging them in, we're gonna start to bend our knees and tip. Squeezing the glute, bit of a hip opener here. Notice again, the knee sort of changes. Take a breath in, squeeze that back bum cheek. We're bringing it up. This is another favorite of mine. It's like love-hate. Every time I do it, I'm like, oh, this is really hard. And bring it up. So your depth here, totally up to what's happening in your strength and joints. So maybe we keep it really super small. For 2, back bum cheek presses up. One more time. Bend, 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 tip, 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 tip. Fire that back glute. Bring yourself up, give your legs a little shake out. Let's do the other side, and then we're gonna turn this into a little pattern. So right foot is gonna come forward. We're gonna be doing that little knee tip, yeah? Hands on your hip bones, press into your foot. Start to bend into that front knee. And you're going wherever your range feels reasonable. Square off through your hips because that back hip might wanna take a little vacation. Squeeze your right bum cheek, bring it up. Little tip, and as you're tipping, you're hugging that foot into the floor. You're hugging your right heel back. Bend, 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 long through the spine. Press through that foot. Good. I feel like this is sort of the less glamorous type Pilates work, because really it's like functional range. Let's go for 4, but it's so important for us long term. Press the foot down, hug the heel back, lengthen, 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 and then zip it up. For 2, again, go wherever your range feels reasonable, right? Feels organic. That's the whole point, is that we're working with what our body system is saying. One more time, tip, 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 tip. Find that standing side bum cheek, press it up. Maybe shorten your stance a little bit, check in with that back heel, lower it a smidgen. Yeah, I don't want us all the way up My heart rate is like on our back toes. Check in with your hip bones if that feels safe, because I don't want us to have our hips in a misalignment if we can help it. Hugging the legs together. Bend the knees, and as soon as you bend, you're letting your pubic bone lead the way forward. Think plank with your upper body. Squeeze the glutes. You have to squeeze the glutes here. Back bum cheek brings you up. Let's go again. We hug in, we tip. So now the front leg isn't really doing anything. It's all load through that back leg. 3 more. Slowly lower, yeah? Play with your range where you can keep your pelvis, keep your torso. Squeeze it up. For 2. This one like really gets the heart rate going, I find. Press it up. Watch that back heel. I'm like a total culprit of this, that back heel doesn't lift too high. And that's just because we can lean into mobility that way. Now I have to work much harder. Press it up. Give it a little shake. So here's our pattern. We're going to do 5 tip overs the front leg and then 5 of the hinges. Switch to the other side. 5 tip overs, 5 hinges. We're done here. We're going to lie down. So left foot forward, grab some water if you want it. We're sort of like speeding along. We're up on that back foot and we're lengthened out through our spine. My watch is like, I'm really low on battery. So we might end up with like a really long Pilates class if it just dies and I don't know when we're stopping. Hug your legs together. We're going to do that little tip forward. Let's go slowly, 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 and then press nice and strong. Whew. Let's go nice and calm. Tip, tip, tip. Press into your foot. Hug the heel. Radiate over that front knee. Press it up. That's 2. Can we align the knee right over the middle of that foot? Hug the heel down and back. Be super active through that standing leg. That's 4. One more time. Tip, 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 tip. Press it up. 5. Back leg. Make sure the heel is a little bit lower. Hug the hips towards each other. Nice and even. We scoop it back for 3, for 2, for 1. Strong push up. Down for 3. That back right bum cheek has to be on here, yeah? You might feel a nice opening through the front of the hip. That's it. Let's go for 2. We hug, back leg focus here, squeeze the bum, press it up one more time. And don't worry if you're like, Dom, you're saying bum, I'm feeling quad, 100. Up, give it a little shake. Nice job, other side. Right leg forward, left leg back, grab some water, come back when you're ready. Little tip forward. So we bend over the knee, bend over the knee, bend over the knee, press into that foot, squeeze it up. 1. Going only as far in your range as feels good for you, yeah? So your shape might look different than mine, and that's totally cool. Lower down for 3. That's what makes movement so fun. 1, press it up. Never relying on just our joints. Squeeze the glutes, press through the thigh, press through the foot, yeah? It should feel like work. 1 more time, 3. You're like, yeah, I get it. 2, 1, and up. Transferring to that back leg, maybe shorten up a little bit. Watch the heel drop it down. Square off through those hips, fire your glutes, and as we start to lower, scooping pubic bone forward. So again, depending on how your knees are feeling, you might not love this. When I started doing this, my knees were a mess, and so I didn't go very low. 2, you'll also notice on this side, I don't go maybe as low as the other side. 2, 1, press and squeeze. It has to be that glute. 2 more. 3, 2, long spine. 1, press it up. 1 more time. 3, 2, 1, press it up. Amazing, amazing job. Grab some water. Let's bring it down. Lots of hip opening, lots of shoulder mobility stuff. As we come down, we're gonna work a combo of our arms, potentially obliques, depending how you're feeling, and glutes. So if you have a hand weight, feel free to collect it here. I'm on my left side, bending through those knees, stacking through my hips. And we're gonna start with that left arm pointing forward of you, yeah, like towards the long edge of my mat. And as we inhale, we're just gonna sort of soften into that shape. Feels very much like I'm just chilling. And then as you breathe out, press the arm down, Watch the shoulder. Notice if it rolls forward, can we hug it onto the back? We're going to do that again. We're going to soften, 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 melt, 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 like we're not really worried about too much. And then feel the whole arm, all the finger pads press into the floor to lift you up. You could also bring your second hand down. Yeah, and it can totally support you here. Last one like this. Little different today. Can you maybe take the hand and turn it out just a little? Like it's not going a whole 90, it's like maybe 45. I'm gonna go a little shy of that. We're gonna again drop down. Now I can still get my whole hand, my whole wrist on the floor, yeah? So I don't want you to be peeling. And then press up, hug that shoulder blade down the back. Down for 3, down for 2, down for 1, press it up. Down for 3, down for 2, down for 1, press it up. One more time. And as you press your torso up towards the ceiling, that shoulder blade hugs down your back. User's choice. If you loved the arm being turned out a little bit, if that did something great, stay there. If you'd like to make it parallel, if that felt more fabulous, stay there. If this whole thing is feeling no bueno, you're going to come all the way down to rest on your left arm or slide a pillow there. Yeah, whatever feels most reasonable. I'm going to come up to parallel. I'm going to take my right arm, reach it up to the ceiling. This is where if you have a hand weight at home, feel free to collect it. We're going to lower that arm straight down to the floor and then lift it up. Lowering it straight down. Good. And lift it up. Lower down and down and down and lift. Okay, so housekeeping as we're here, keep going. Down and lift. If your neck isn't loving being here, you can always turn your gaze down. Yeah, it also might give you more freedom through the top of your shoulder so you can connect a little more mid back, which is what we're aiming for. And lift. The ribs, we want to make sure over time don't start to soften down. We want to keep zipping them up, pressing that arm into the floor. Lower, 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 and lift. We're trying to keep the hips as stacked as possible. 3, and lift. One more time. Down, 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 lift. Next one is going to be different. We're going to lower with the palm down. We're going to rotate, give ourselves a thumbs up because we're doing a really good job. And then we're going to lead with the thumb on the way up. So at the top, we can get a really nice squeeze. Think underneath the armpit. Palm faces forward as we lower. Excuse that I have to look down. That's just what feels best for my neck. Thumbs up. And then we open up. Palm forward, lower, 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 thumb up, squeeze. As we lift it up, palm down, lower, 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 rotate and lead. 3, and up. Let's go for 3 as we slowly lower. Now, my hope is that we're feeling like we have to work through the mid back, especially if you're up on your arm. If you're lying down, you're still working through the mid back, just primarily on that upper arm moving side. Down and down, lift it up and up. And then that bottom arm, bottom oblique stabilizing you, yeah? Last one here, rotate and lift and lift and lift and hold. Option to hold that right arm up. You can always pop it down if that feels better. I'm gonna come all the way to rest on my left arm for now because that's what my body needs. We're gonna take that leg, we're gonna lift it up to parallel. We're gonna squeeze it in and then we're gonna reach it long. We're gonna squeeze it in and reach it long. Good work, team. Squeeze it in. So options here. That right arm can be lifted up towards the ceiling. That right arm can be on your hip. That right arm can be on the floor. You can be resting on your left arm. You could be up with your side arm supporting you. Could be turned out. You're going to get a little more through your waist there, yeah? And squeeze. That feels much better now. So it's kind of fun, I think, when we do things together because like I have so many injuries in my own body that it means I have to adapt as well. And I just think it makes sure that we're all sort of like working collaboratively together. Yeah. Squeeze it in and reach it out. I think sometimes I know when I watch videos, it feels like there's like a divide, right, between the person teaching and the experiencer. And I never want us to feel that way. I always want it to feel collaborative and that we're all humans moving in space. Yeah. Are we starting to feel that top thumb yet? Squeeze and reach. We're going for 3. Squeeze it in. Press it out. You got it. For 2, trying to avoid the temptation to reach it back behind you. Let's keep it long and out. You'll see why. One more time, squeeze that leg in, reach it out, pause. Long leg is gonna lower to the floor, and then we lift to the floor and lift. Keep going. I'm gonna scoot in a little bit. So as you're doing this, if you want to add a little ankle mobility, you can flex and point. I wanna flex on the way up because I wanna feel like I'm lifting from my heel. It's gonna get a little more glute meatish if we do that, yeah? All right, I'm lying back down, it's happening. Lift, just feels better for the neck, you know? And lift. Why suffer through things? Let's go for 3. You could always bend the knee here a little bit, that top knee for 2, if that feels better for you. Last one, we're gonna lower down and then we're gonna lift that leg up and hold it. Oh, the fun, oh, the burn. Reach long through that leg, hip height. We're gonna take that arm wherever you had it and we're gonna bend it into the waist. We're gonna do a shorter armed version of what we were doing with a long arm. So we're gonna let that arm come down and then we're gonna rotate it. Now I want us to be really, that bum, super honest about what our external range of motion here is. So it's not about rotating to the ceiling with those fingertips. It's about trying to keep the movement really into the shoulders. Anyone else's glute like fire and open. Watching to see if there's any like gripping or squeezing up of those shoulder blades. We want to try to keep a nice wide collarbone here and listen to the sweet hum of that top bum cheek. Let's go for 3. Let's go for 2. Woo. Last one. Hold the arm, maybe reach it up, maybe pop it down, whatever feels good. We're gonna bend the knee in. Now listen carefully. You're gonna take it forward and you're gonna sweep it, sweep it, sweep it. You're gonna bend it in. We're gonna take it forward. We're gonna sweep it around. We're gonna bend. Oh, the burn. Squeeze it back. Let's go for 3. Now you could, again, remember, be totally up on the forearm here. For 2, that option is up to you. One more time and reach and squeeze, 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 squeeze. You're gonna bend the leg in. We're gonna squeeze the toes or the heels together so you're in your clamshell. We're gonna lower down and lift back up. I haven't forgotten about the right arm. Remember, it can be wherever you want it to be. Lower down and lift. Lower down and lift. Oh, it's a party. It's a party in the glutes. And lift. Let's go for 3. And again, right arm can be wherever you need it to be. Check in if you're still on that forearm with that bottom shoulder. Last one with the leg, you're gonna open, you're gonna hold it open. That hand is going to, again, internally rotate. Once it's come down, can you do that thumbs up because you're doing a good job? Lead with the thumb as you open back. Flip the palm faces down, lower it down, rotate to the thumb. Good. Palm faces down as you lower, rotate to the thumb, open it back up. Keep checking in with that bottom forearm. We are full body working it here, yeah? If you're up on your hand, you're working those side obliques, you're working that bottom shoulder, we're working the strength of our neck, we're working through your rotator cuff, and you're still squeezing into your legs, yeah? If you're lying on that arm, you're still working the bottom obliques because you're not letting your waist collapse into the floor, yeah? We're all sticking out through those glutes. Let's go for 3. Let's go for 2. We have one more little bit of business here. Last one, you're gonna take that top thigh, you're gonna lower it down an inch, squeeze it open. Down an inch, squeeze it open. For 3. For 2, tailbone reaching, reaching. Last one, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Lower down. Holy moly, what an adventure that was. Bring yourself all the way up. You can take a little side bend if you'd like to, a little forward sweep, kind of freestyle it, whatever feels good. I want us to jump right away into that second side. Let's not leave it. Coming onto that right arm, or your second arm, wherever you are. So bending through the knees, we're gonna start up on that forearm. Fingertips are facing forward. We're gonna collapse into, feels crunchy. Collapse into that shoulder and then press away. And as we press, shoulder blade coming onto the back, hugging that forearm down, bottom waist lifting. Melt, take a little chill break, and then press and bring it up. Good, down nice and calm, and then press it up. It's so funny side to side, the little idiosyncrasies. Like when I press and come up on this right side, my whole right side just shakes. One more time, press it up. Now a little bit of an experiment, take that right arm, open it out a little bit, like maybe 45, maximum 45. I mean, I guess you could go a little bit wider if you wanted to, but I'm trying to keep it like within a reasonable range. We're gonna soften down and then again, press and hug. And it's nice because side to side, we can experience different things, right? Like for me on the left side, when I did this with my arm turned out, it wasn't doing much for me. On this side, it is. And that's good to note, right? Like it's nice to experiment and explore how our different sides have different needs. One more time, we're gonna press it up. Now pick and choose whichever one you would like to be at. I'm gonna go back to parallel. We're gonna take that top arm, reach it up towards the ceiling. We're gonna lower that hand down as if it's gonna tap the floor. Back of the palm leads the way up. Your gaze can be wherever you need it to be. You could be forward, maybe it's up. Maybe your head wants to follow your arm. That's totally an option as well. Maybe your gaze wants to be down to the floor. For me, that feels the most supportive for my neck. You could also omit this bottom arm completely, come all the way down. If you want to hold your head, you can. If you have blankets or pillows you want to pop under your head instead, all fabulous options. As we're working here, we're trying to resist that squeezing of the shoulder blade up to the earlobe. We already did circles. We already did some lifting. So now we want to we're working into that mid back, into the rhomboids, into the mid traps. Lift it up. We're going for 3 here. We're going for 2. Again, if you have a little hand weight, you're welcome to use that here. Last one. Okay, we're gonna add on. We're gonna lower it down. We rotate thumbs up to the ceiling and then we squeeze so that thumb reaches back. Lower it down, thumbs up, lead with the thumb as you lift. So when we rotate our arms into different positions, like when we lower, we're a little more, well, I guess we're still, if you were to flip up, we've rotated externally a little bit, or no, internally from like neutral. But when we lift this arm here, we're going into external. So you are still doing both. You're internally rotating to come down, externally rotating to lift, but we're really working against gravity on that way up. So there's a anatomical neutral, keep moving. And they generally say it's this with your palms facing forward. And I learned in one of my anatomy courses that I did recently that the reason for that is because when they're doing like a post-mortem and someone's lying on the table, they're lying with their palms up. And I was like, that is so fascinating. One more time, just something we throw around, anatomical neutral. It's good to know where it comes from. Okay, your arm is going to be up. It can be down. It can be on your hip. Remember, you could be on that bottom forearm. We're going to lift that top leg up to parallel. We're going to squeeze it into your chest and then reach the leg long. Squeeze it in, reach it long. Squeeze it in. You could have a flex foot if you wanted to here. You could have a pointed foot here. Technically, they're actually both a type of flexion, but I feel like point and flex is just what we know them as. Bringing it in. Notice if tension is creeping into other spaces, your jaw, your forehead, your neck. Like truly, truly, if you feel like you're in a space and all you can feel is your neck just gripping, 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 bring it down, wiggle around a little bit, yeah? And find where you can let that soften because there's just no point fighting those things if they're going to keep gripping. Oh, very close to giving my snake plant a little sniff of my feet. Good. As you're working here, we're sticking that thumb out behind us. If you're up on that forearm, or even if you're on the floor, you're still trying to lift up into that bottom waist a little bit. It's getting spicy. Let's go for 3. Press it away. Let's go for 2. I'm going to come back down onto my arm. Press. One more time. Press and pause. We're going to lower the top leg down, lift it up, point to lower, exhale to lift. And so as you're lifting, check in with your bottom waist. Yeah, if you lift your leg and your waist collapses down, good to note, right? We want to try to keep that top hip as stable as possible. Oh, that glute made she working that side of the thigh, those abductors. Good. That's why I want us to lift up with the heel, because then you can kind of like dig the heel up a little bit, which is going to make it a little more glutey for us. Let's go for 3. Let's go for 2. And we still have the hold after this. Last one. Here we go. All together. Lift up and hold. Now that top arm is going to reach back up. Remember, you could still be up on that forearm. We're going to bend that arm in so it's squeezing into our waist. We're going to internally rotate and then externally rotate. That whole time, that palm is reaching down to the floor. Whew, that top leg, we're holding onto it for dear life. Trying to keep it up at that hip height. The longer we're here, the more likely it is to kind of soften down. Play with your quad contraction here. So maybe there's a bit of a bend in the knee and that gives you more glute, okay? That's totally reasonable. Maybe you have the capacity to zip up through your quad and that gives you the most glute. Maybe you need to lift that leg up just a hair and that will give you more glute. Whew, think about channeling up through that heel a little bit more and see how that changes the tension. Lower down. I'm hoping we're all feeling fiery because I definitely am. And I would love for us to all be having within a parameters the same kind of experience. Unique to us, but still sort of the same bubble space. Let's go for 2. Last one, lift it up. We're going to take that leg. We're going to bend it in. We're going to pike it forward. We're going to sweep it back. We're going to bend it in. We're going to pike it forward and sweep. Tempting to let that leg drop down. Yeah, holding it up at hip height. Holy moly, so much work. Sweep it along. Bend it in. Take it forward. That top leg can go wherever you want it to be. Yeah, it can be up to the ceiling. I've popped mine down on the floor. I'm going to stay resting down because I just find my neck tries to help me out too much here. And if I use my top hand on the floor, it just gives me the opportunity to get a little bit more in the bum. Bend and extend and squeeze. Good. Can we go for 3? Little bicycle. Big impact for 2. You got it. Watch that top hip doesn't start to kind of wiggle all over the place. We're keeping it nice and still. Sweep it back. You're going to bend the knee in. You're going to place heels or toes together. So we're in that clamshell. Lower it down. And then exhale, squeeze. Lower down. Exhale, squeeze. You could be pressing that floor away. Yes, you could be turned out with that top arm or bottom arm, sorry. Top arm could be lifting up. Top hand could be on your hip. Top hand could be on the floor. Exhaling to open. Woo! Glutes on fire, buns of steel. Keep checking in with that bottom waist, yeah? We want to make sure we're not hanging out. Beach vacation 2070 at this point. Pressing the floor away, hugging that arm in, keeping that top hip nice and stacked. Gaze can be down. Lower down. Lift it up. Oh, good squeeze. Let's go for 5. Let's go for 4. Top hip nice and stacked. You got it here, team. 3. Belly strong. For 2. And open. One more time. All right, we're gonna hold the clam. That top arm is gonna bend in. We're gonna thumbs up it, rotate it out. Palm comes down, thumbs up and rotate. So 2 different kinds, I'm just gonna lower down again, of external rotation, right? Or 2 different experiences of it. One was with a really long lever, and now this one is with a shorter one. And I'm hoping with this shorter one, we get a little more of a true experience of what our external rotation is, yeah? Because we're not super concerned about lifting up, which involves a little more of your scapulocaudal. This is keeping it now into your glenohumeral, which are just fancy words for your shoulder blade and your shoulder girdle. Let's go for 3. Are you still squeezing that top thigh open? Still sticking your bum out for 2. You've got it here, team. Last one. Maybe arm is up, maybe it's down. Lower the leg just an inch and then open. Down just an inch and then open for 5. Whew. For 4. You've got it. 3. Squeeze. 2. Squeeze. Last one, squeeze, 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 and bring it down. Holy moly. Give yourself a little wiggle if you want to come onto your back. A little windshield wiper. I'm going to request, if you can help it, that we don't stretch our glutes right away. I want to give them a chance to sort of naturally sort themselves out before we go in manually, yeah? All right, we're gonna meet on our backs. This is where I recommend, if you know that your neck sort of starts to bother you, grab a pillow or grab a blanket as we just move into, again, a little bit of ab work. And you're gonna place it from the tops of your shoulders up over your head so that you have a little bit of support there. We're gonna lower down. And we're just gonna take a second to kind of play with our pelvis. So if you want to place your hands on your body, you can place your hip bones or your finger pads on your hip bones and a thumb at your rib cage. You could place your hands like a diamond, heels of your hands on your hip bones, fingertips on your pubic bone. You could have no contact at all. And as we inhale, I'm gonna move my hands out of the way so you can kind of see my pelvis, or maybe I'll put them on my pelvis so you can see. We're gonna inhale to super tip, so there's a big arch through my low back. And then as I breathe out, I'm gonna hollow, 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 so that I'm trying to scoop my low back to the floor without squeezing my glutes and lifting my bum up. I'm gonna inhale to lengthen out, opening through the front of the hip. And then as I exhale from right around my pelvis, I'm gonna try to hollow. And I'm gonna make sure that I don't squeeze my belly up and like create pressure. I'm not being dramatic, that's what happens, yeah? Because we're also then compressing through our diaphragm. Inhaling to open. As you breathe out, as you scoop, you can think about the hip bones closing in on each other. You can also think about them opening wide. Let's go for 3. Now know that it's just an energetic, well, I mean, it is moving, but if your low back doesn't actually touch the floor, that's not a bad thing, yeah? For 2, depending on your lumbar, your low back structure, it might just not even be possible. But the effort of doing it is what will give you the experience. One more time. Exhale. Now, can you keep scooping? We're gonna reach our arms up to the ceiling. We're gonna hug those arms nice and tight. As also a little asterisk, a little aside, if scooping into your low back isn't for you, don't do it. Stay a little more neutral. Okay, we're gonna go from here. Start to walk your feet in towards you a little bit. And as you do that, can you keep scooping? Can you keep scooping? Can you keep scooping? As we keep scooping, take a breath in. As you breathe out, can we lift one leg up to a tabletop? Now notice if your hips do anything funky, we want to keep hollowing to the floor. Take a breath in here. As you breathe out, can you lift your second leg? Now quickly, some options. You could totally let your legs, your shins dangle and just keep your knees stacked over your hips. That might actually give you a better experience of scooping the belly. You might feel really happy lifting those legs up, in which case you're going to flex through your feet, separate your legs hip distance apart wherever you are. Hands are going to come onto your thighs. We're going to take a breath in. As we breathe out, we're breathing out through our mouth. And we're going to think about scooping the belly a little bit more, drawing the whole rib cage down a little bit more. As we inhale, can we expand through the rib cage sideways and backwards? And then as we exhale, it's like there's a zipper, pubic bone to belly button. Or like your hip bones are squeezing in towards each other. Or like your belly button is being pulled wide. Yeah, there's so many different ways to think about this, but either way, I want it nice and deep in the center of your torso. Hands are just resting, yeah? One more time. Inhale in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. We're gonna add some hands here. So we're gonna take a breath in. As we breathe out, you're gonna add a bit of pressure. Hands to thighs, thighs to hands. You're gonna keep breathing. You're gonna hold that tension for 10, 9, 8, keep breathing. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the pressure of your hands. Maybe pop your feet down if you need to. One breath just to relax. Take an inhale. Take an exhale. Okay, when you're ready, starting to come back to this structure. Hands onto thighs, take your breath in. As you breathe out, we're squeezing through that belly, or through the hands to thighs, thighs to hands. We're scooping through that belly, and we're pressing. Hold the tension here. For 5, your legs could be up. 4, your shins could be down. 3, you can keep scooping and hollowing more. 2, scooping and hollowing more. 1, scooping and hollowing more. Take a little break. Breathe in. Breathe out. 2 more like this, please. Inhale. As you breathe out, think about scooping that low belly, low back to the floor. Hands against thighs. Looking up to the ceiling, inhale. As you breathe out, scoop more. Hollow through that belly. So initiate from that fleshy low belly space first, and then find that tension. Hold the tension, keep breathing for 3. My hope is that you're feeling like lots of deep ab here. 2, 1, take a little break. One more time, breathe in. Breathe out. All right, inhale. As you exhale, scoop through that belly, hollowing through the abs, pressing the hands into the thighs. Breathe and press here, breathe and press for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, last 1. Nice job. Lower the feet down, give your legs a little bit of a stretch. We're gonna lengthen those legs out. We're gonna press our heels into the floor. We're gonna try to keep our pelvis as balanced as possible here. Hands are gonna interlace behind the head. Lift the elbows up, give your head a little shake in your hands. This is our last little bit of business here. Don't worry, my watch didn't die. I know where our time is at. Inhale, looking up at the ceiling. Now keep your feet pressing down. As you breathe out, nod your chin and curl up. And I want us to keep our legs long because I just want you to notice your pelvis. Now we're trying to keep it so that it doesn't hollow into the floor. Inhale to take it back. Exhale, nod and curl. Inhale back. Exhale, nod and curl. If you can you fully engage through your legs? So you're gonna press those heels into the floor if that works for you. Notice as well, anatomically, we're all structured differently. So as much as we're trying, or I'm cueing for us to try to keep hip bones and pubic bone level, that just might not be possible, right? Depending on what our body structure is. So know that we're just doing our best as we curl up to make sure we don't then scoop into the belly, yeah? Or scoop into the low back. Exhaling it up. If you feel like you would like to add some twists here, oblique twist up and over to the right, but don't let the hips change. Inhale through center, over to the left, don't let the hips change. Inhale back through center, up and over. Inhale through center, exhale over. You can take this speed with whatever works for you. I'm going to keep it slow and steady. You can always extend an arm if you would like to. If you're oblique twisting, we want to make sure we don't settle on those back shoulder blades. Inhale to take it back, strong legs. Keep them engaged, press and twist. Notice if your pelvis moves. Our goal here again is to keep it stable. Keep opening through the front of the hip as we add the flexion of our torso. Exhale, twist. We're here for 3. We're here for 2. Over to the right. Last one, over to the left. Inhale, center, exhale, curl, curl, curl. Start to bend the knees and walk your feet in towards you. Taking a breath in as you breathe out, scoop that low back if that's an option. Can you bring those legs up to a table? Take a breath in. As you breathe out, can you scoop and squeeze the knees and squeeze your upper body to your legs as much as you can? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower it down. Good work. Plant those feet on the floor. Give yourself a little windshield wiperoos. Big breath into the belly. Exhale it out. If you need to sort of be done, please feel free to be done. We're just going to do a little stretch through the glutes, a little rotation, and then we're done zaramas. So we're going to take that right leg, reach it up, give that ankle a little bit of a roll, maybe give the leg a bit of a shake. We're going to cross the right ankle over the left knee, and we're just going to sort of teeter-totter across the pelvis here. Again, with whatever range feels reasonable. And the reasonable range might be a little more contained. It might feel better to be standing and doing this too, right? That's totally an option as well. Keep going. If you're doing the standing version, if you have a wall or something, you can hang onto the wall or a chair. That might feel a little more accessible. Oh, my hair's falling everywhere. And then if you would like to, you can keep this shape. You're going to scoot yourself over to the right a little bit and let the legs fall. You could also slide the right thigh all the way over, so you have a nice squeezy leg situation, and then go over in that way too. If I find when we squeeze the legs, it's a little more back in like quadratus lumborum, which is just a muscle through the low back. When it's turned out, it's a little more glutey. Reach your right arm overhead if you'd like to, turning your gaze to the right. Take a nice big breath in and exhale it out. When you're ready, gently guiding back to center, unravel the leg. You can give it a little shakety shake shake. And then we'll go to the other side. Left leg up, you can do little circles through that left ankle. Shake out the leg, shake out the foot. And then when you're ready, left ankle over right knee. Feel that resistance like we did at the beginning together. And then teeter totter if you'd like to. So we did so much really great work for mobility at the beginning of our time together, through the pelvis, the hips, the low back, through rotation if you had that in there, through the shoulders, rotator cuff, forearms, wrists. We kind of went like quick and dirty, top to bottom. And then when you're ready, if you'd like to keep this shape, scoot your bum a little bit to the left so you can take the shape over to the right, or you could slide left leg on top, take a little twist that way, arm up. We then built some strength through the rotator cuff in external and internal rotation, through the mid back when we did that as well, to kind of open up through the chest a little bit, through the glutes, through the legs and the hips, through that alignment of our knee when we did all that standing stuff. Hamstrings are working there too, through our abs. So much amazing work. When you're ready, bring yourself all the way. And if you'd like to give yourself a little rock and roll, or however you'd like to find your way to seated or standing, inhale, reach your arms up overhead. As you breathe out, bring your arms down, give yourself a squeeze. Thank you so much for taking this time to be here with me. Thank you for being here for you. I hope you have a super, super great rest of your day. And then as a little asterisk, it's so, or not so helpful, but I like being